Upon hearing Turan's description about the Holy Emperor's love that resembles Lucina, Hakan immediately headed to where Lucina and the Holiness are talking. Turan felt that he's in trouble. He immediately catches up to Hakan and blocked him.
Calm down, King. You should not be jealous of the Holy Emperor.
You are right. Jealousy can cause big problems. This should not happen. However, the conversation between Lucina and the Holy Emperor takes a long time. He have not even been able to enjoy the banquet we have prepared for him yet. I'm going to Lucina now, definitely not because I'm jealous of the Holy Emperor. Did you understand?
Turan felt dumbfounded by Hakan's statement. Turan cannot stop Hakan from what he wants to do. Hakan hurriedly knocked on the door and called the Holy Emperor.
Lucina, Your Majesty, are you inside?
Turan sighed in relief upon seeing Hakan did.
Okay, this is better than jumping in rashly.
At the same time, inside the room, Lucina heard someone knocking and recognized Hakan's voice. Lucina wonders why. Perhaps did something urgent happen? She asked in herself. She excuses herself and headed to the door.
Excuse me for a moment, Your Majesty. I will open the door.
The Holy Emperor agreed with a sad face. At the door, Lucina asked Hakan.
What brought you here?
I was worried because the conversation was taking so long. What were you talking about?
Hakan entered the room while Lucina suddenly remembered what the Holy Emperor had said earlier about whether she was happy and satisfied with her life in Tayar. She knows that Hakan will feel bad if he knows about it, and she really is satisfied living in Tayar, but...
King, are you bothered that Lucina was with me?
It's not like that. I have something to say to Lucina if you are done talking. You can go out and enjoy the banquet.
Hakan immediately grabbed Lucina's shoulder after what he said to the Holy Emperor.
Ha 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 ha. This is enough. Lucina and I are done with our conversation. However, I am a little tired from enjoying the banquet earlier, so, can I rest here for a while?
Hakan bows and respected what the Holy Emperor wanted to do.
Do what you wish. Excuse me, we will be leaving now.
And they left. As they were leaving, the Holy Emperor kept looking at them. While headed to the banquet,
Hakan, did something go wrong at the banquet? Your expressions do not look good.
Is that so?
Yes. If there are any problems, let me know, okay?
No, nothing happened at the banquet. Lucina has prepared it perfectly. Thanks for your good work.
So why...
The problem is me. This is funny. The king. I am jealous, especially at this moment.
Jealous?
Well, when I see you with the Holy Emperor, you both look so good, like you have been together since the beginning. I felt jealous even though I knew you loved me. That is why I made excuses to take you out from there.
Do not be so hard on yourself, Hakan. I will also feel jealous if I see Hakan with another woman. If you see the person you love with someone of the opposite sex, you must feel jealous. This cannot be avoided, right?
That is what I heard.
You do not have to worry too much, because I will be by Hakan's side for the rest of my life.
while Lucina was hugging and coaxing Hakan, she thought again about what she and the Holy Emperor had talked about earlier. Looking back earlier,
It is okay to be honest with me. Are you really satisfied with living here?
What's with this question?
I'm satisfied. I feel satisfied, of course.
I heard that your coming to Tayar was not voluntary.
Of course it is, but in Brion, when I was there, I was constantly in pain, opposite when I am here. I think Hakan saved me from there.
Unfortunately.
Do you really feel unfortunate?
Honestly, I wanted Lucina to go with me to the Great Temple.
What do you mean by saying that?
Not leaving completely, but for the time being.
back to present. Lucina suddenly thought that she had not given an answer to the Holy Emperor's offer to her at that time, and because of that, she asked Hakan for permission to return to where the Holy Emperor was.
Hakan, would you like to go to the banquet hall first?
Surely, but why?
There is something I want to say to the Holy Emperor, which I could not say to him earlier.
I have no desire to leave Tayar, that is what I must tell him.
I will be right back, so do not worry too much.
Okay, don't worry.
Lucina headed to the place where she and the Holy Emperor had last talked. Upon entering,
I knew you would come back. You came back to give me your answer, didn't you? Lucina,
Yes, it is.
shocked, Lucina was surprised by what the Holy Emperor said because he knew the reason why she came back. She thought, if a person had the ability to predict, would he be able to know something like this?
I have no intention of leaving Tayar.
Lucina sat down again in the place she was sitting earlier.
Even if it was for temporary period, I'm now the Tayar queen, so I can't leave.
I know Lucina is in a difficult situation, but there is a reason why I wanted to take Lucina there with me.
A reason?
Sorry for not telling you this earlier. In fact, I came here just to tell you this. You and your baby could be in danger, especially here in Tayar.
My child. In danger? What are you trying to say?
Calm down, Lucina. There is someone targeting your child. Once the child is born, it will be difficult for you to protect him here. That's why I want you to go to the Great Temple with me, because I can protect you both there, Lucina. That's why I'd like you to consider this again.
Now that Lucina knows the main reason for the Holy Emperor going to Tayar and offering her to accompany him back to the temple, she can't speak and decide. With a worry face, she said,
I cannot decide. Alone. I must talk Hakan about this.
The next day, Hakan was sitting next to Lucina while facing the Holy Emperor. They were intensively talking about the safety of Lucina and her child in her womb.
I heard that you want to take Lucina to the Great Temple. Can you explain the reason for that?
Sure. Do you know about a monster called Shifter?
Of course.
Hakan and Lucina were shocked upon hearing it. A shifter is a monster that can freely change its appearance.
Those have often attacked Tayar as well, but the attacks have quieted down a bit these days. How do you...
Right now, the Shifters are planning to conquer Tayar by different means. The leader of the Dragon Slayers causing trouble in Tayar is none other than the Shifter. Until now, it looked like the Shifters were on their own. But now, the leader of the Slayers has brought most of them together.
Do you mean that most Dragon Slayers are shifters?
Yes, and the leader of the Slayers is probably targeting Lucina's child right now.
The leader of the Slayers is targeting my child. Could it be that the person whose face looks exactly like mine is related to this?
I roughly understand the situation, but there are still some parts that aren't explained. The reason for choosing to go to the temple instead, in order to protect from the shifter. And how does the Holy Emperor know about all the shifter's plans?
Let me start by answering the first question. Shifters are ultimately monsters, and they are vulnerable to the power of the gods. And so, I can protect Lucina in the Great Temple better than in Tayar.
I got it.
Second, the reason why I know about all this is... I can't tell you right now. I'll tell you when the time comes. But right now, it's dangerous. Please understand that I genuinely care for Lucina.
Lucina looked at Hakan with a worried face. Hakan's head suddenly hurt from what he found out about the shifters.
I have one thing to ask about. Is there any other way besides going to the Great Temple?
Of course, there isn't exactly any other way. We have to eliminate all the shifters before Lucina's child is born. However, you'd have to wage war against the Slayers to do so.
A war with the Slayers will happen someday. If the Holy Emperor lends us the holy relics, the war will become much easier. So...
Think rationally, Your Majesty. Do you think the war against shifters will ever be over? What will you do if Lucina's child is born before the war ends? Without the troops, the shifters can invade Tayar more easily. Both Lucina and her child will be in danger. If you must engage in the war, then send Lucina to the Great Temple, at least for the duration of the war.
Later that night, inside their chambers, Hakan was worried while looking at the sleeping Lucina, thinking how frightening it is just the thought of sending Lucina away from him, but it is right to do so for the safety of his loved ones.
Hakan? You weren't sleeping?
Did I disturb your sleep, Lucina?
Hakan, you seem to have a lot on your mind.
Can you see it in my eyes too?
I can understand your feelings just by looking at your facial expressions.
You are lying.
Really? Shall I give it a try? Hakan, Are you worried that I might want to go to the temple?
How did you get it right?
I can tell just by looking at your face.
I was jealous of the relationship between Lucina and the Holy Emperor. But Lucina is so mature to understand my feelings like this. Lucy, what do you think is the best thing to do between leaving for the Great Temple or staying in Tyar?
I'll consider Hakon's words before making a decision. Why is Hakon worried about me going to the temple? I don't like being separated from Hakon either, but Hakon seems to have deeper concerns than that. Is it because you are jealous of the Holy Emperor?
I'm worried that you won't come back after you go to the Great Temple.
Why do you think like that, Hakon?
I don't know. When I think of you leaving me, I feel anxious and frustrated. Perhaps for you, marrying someone like Holy Emperor might have been happier than being with someone like me, known as a barbarian in Brionne. If you had a choice, would you really want to choose me over someone like him?
Hakon, are you a fool?
Fool?
How can I leave for Brionne when I'm going to be Tyar's queen? I will not leave Tyar until my last breath, and when I die, I'll be buried alongside Hakon in the same grave. Until I die, no, even after death, I won't be separated from Hakon.
Lucina, I'm sorry. I will never let you go for the rest of my life either. Not even in my imagination.
Hakon,
And in the end, Hakon's fear disappeared from Lucina's words, and they shared the night full of love for each other.